Our free limited 5-star has been on our accounts for a few days now. With news of his release public for quite a while, a lot of players have had the time to pre-farm for his ascension, weapon, and perhaps most importantly, his echoes. On the other hand, there's another big part of the player base that wasn't fully ready for this absolutely brilliant character. There might have been people who had no intention of building him at all, but after experiencing his gameplay and witnessing his mind-boggling numbers, it's likely that some of those players have changed their minds. If you're one of those players now looking to build Xiangli Yao, or you're somebody who hasn't fully committed to grinding his echoes, this video is for you. Echo Sonata sets provide some of the most powerful buffs possible for your character. Attribute damage sets or lingering tunes are the main options you have when it comes to gearing a DPS. And with early calculations on Xiangli Yao, credits to Maggie, indicating a literal percentage point in difference between sets like Void Thunder and Lingering Tunes, there's a fair debate on which set is actually the best for this free limited character. These sets' bonuses may appear similar at first glance, as they both end up increasing Xiangli's damage, but your playstyle and attacks used will vary heavily between the two sets. And due to the nature of how you gain the buffs and bonuses from these Sonata sets, your team comps will have to differ heavily as well. Today we'll be diving into why this is the case, explaining the key differences between these two Sonata sets, how the two sets differ across playstyle and mechanical difficulty, and the distinct features across set activation that make one Sonata far more flexible than the other. As always, if you're enjoying this content, please hit that like and subscribe button. One of the key differentiators across Sonata sets as a whole is how they actually grant their buffs to the on-fielded unit. Lingering Tunes is quite possibly the easiest set to activate in the game. All you need to do is swap onto your character. Really, that's it. While other sets require the use of abilities like intro skills, resonance skills, or other attacks, Lingering Tunes immediately activates and begins granting attack to the character as soon as they're swapped onto. This takes a while to fully stack up, so characters will reach their full damage potential on the set after 6 seconds on the field. When combined with the incredibly fast cast animation of the Mech Abomination Echo skill, this set has the easiest rotations and simplest playstyle for Xiangli, and you'll gain the most effectiveness from this set when you slot him in his hypercarry teams, with the set's field time requirement synergizing fantastically with the conditions on a sub-DPS's outro skill. You simply don't want to swap off Xiangli. Void Thunder, on the other hand, has conditions that are a bit more complicated. This set can build up 2 stacks that grant 15% electro damage each, with one stack built up from using a resonance skill, while the other from a heavy attack. Xiangli is heavily encouraged to use resonance skills across his rotation due to its incredibly short cooldown, stacking bonus from his inherent skill, and repeated activations across his resonance liberation. His heavy attacks, on the other hand, are a different story. Xiangli's heavy attacks activate extremely quickly and can easily be cancelled into other moves. However, they're never really used outside of specifically activating Void Thunder's 5-piece effect, as they're a puny portion of his damage profile, and there's far more incentive to focus on other types of damage in his rotations. The real complication begins when you activate Xiangli's Resonance Liberation. Xiangli cannot use heavy attacks, and subsequently cannot activate or refresh one of Void Thunder's 2 stacks across the entire duration of his Resonance Liberation. When that ability lasts up to 24 seconds, this can be a painful interaction to work around, and if you're not optimizing his rotations, it's extremely easy to lose several of his buffs across regular gameplay. And that's a huge reason for why in many calculations, Void Thunder is actually below Lingering Tunes. When you also factor in the relative unusability of the Thundering Mephis Echo skill and the unfortunate buffs to heavy attacks that we've established he never really uses from the Tempest Mephis, it's fair to say that Xiangli feels a little clunky and lacks some synergy with the Void Thunder set. With the need need to weave in a Resonance skill, Heavy Attack, and Echo skill into Xiangli's rotation prior to his Resonance Liberation to maximize his overall damage, this means that Void Thunder is a lot more mechanically intensive to use compared to Lingering Tunes, but only if you care about activating and maintaining all of its damage bonuses. On the bright side, a fully stacked and Echo skill buffed Void Thunder will give you the highest DPS, damage per screenshot, in the game. And that's what matters the most, right? The sheer difference in playstyles and mechanical difficulty alone might be enough to sway you towards one Sonata set over the other. But before you decide, we need to take some time to talk about how they impact Xiangli's teams. Lingering Tunes is an easy set to activate and use, but it's also one of the most restrictive sets in the game. This is because you completely lose the entire 5-piece attack bonus once your character swaps off-field. And what that means is any playstyle involving quick swap mechanics or dual DPS lineups are completely out of the question unless you like playing characters without Sonata set buffs. When Xiangli has some of the best quick swap windows in the game when combined with a secondary damage dealer, that's a lot of wasted potential. His ability to generate Forte Circuit stacks while off-field during his Resonance Liberation allows other characters to weave in their own rotations alongside his. By slotting him on Lingering Tunes, you're essentially restricting Xiangli to those previously mentioned hypercarry teams that stack as many buffs as possible on Xiangli and keep him on field for as long as possible. And if you ever want to effectively experiment with Xiangli on other teams, you'll also have to regrind a whole new set. I don't think I would wish that fate on my worst enemy, but if that does end up happening, the general attack buff from Lingering Tunes should make those pieces transferable to another DPS. I guess there's a silver lining to everything. When Void Thunder retains its bonuses through character swaps, it's the only usable set for Xiangli across his dual DPS lineups. And although fun is entirely subjective to the player, a lot of these teams are some of the most fun that I've had in this game. Experimenting with team compositions and discovering new synergies across your roster can be some of the most enjoyable things to do in a game like Wuthering Waves, and there's no telling what lies in store for future additions to the roster. There could be many new DPS characters that will synergize fantastically with Xiangli's quick swap potential, and as Void Thunder is the only set that can actually function in those teams, it's fair to say that it's also the most future-proof Sonata of the two available. When it comes to Void Thunder against Lingering Tunes, there's no definitive answer you can give. It depends on you, the player. From your willingness to learn and deal with complex rotations, your desire to play Xiangli across a variety of teams, and your interest in Xiangli's potential with new character releases. With all the resources, luck, and patience required to build a full set of Echoes, choose wisely. As always, if you enjoyed this content, please hit that like and subscribe button. Peace out.